Jim Irsay just admitted that they looked into Tom Brady, but Frank Reich said that he had a relationship with Phillip Rivers.
Good boy, Frank.
Oh, no.
Here comes Carson.
All right, that's good.
Come on in.
Comes Carson.
Why?
All right.
Why would he say that?
Because he's fucking awesome. He's Jim Irsay. And whenever he gives interviews, he gives real answers, and people hate him for it. But that is a definite answer that makes Jim. I would assume Jim has some thoughts privately about everything that's going on in the decision. And normally, whenever he comes out, and you know how coaches sometimes use the media to get their message across?
All the time.
All the time. Happens all the time. Like, hey, basically telling the media what he wants the players to either do or think or say or anything like that. Like, that's basically what's happening in a lot of situations. But when Irsay comes out there, he's talking about the entire franchise whenever he's giving answers. You know? Like, when we got Luck, he's like, in his first interview, he's like, we're talking about multiple championships. Yeah. He's like, I, not just one, brother. I'm talking multiple championships, you know? So he's like basically telling everybody in the building, like, hey, here are the expectations, by the way. So whenever he gives an interview, normally he has great ways of describing things, but he does answer long-winded wise, right? He gives a long answer, and you have to pick through it because he's been there, done that with literally everything. But normally the shit that he's saying is pretty profound, and there's a lot of, I think, like deep thinking behind him talking. So I would assume with that one, he wanted to make sure that some people knew, like also, like, I understand where you're coming from with that whole thing, but I want to let you know, that was not my decision. I don't know what's going to happen next couple of years. I want to let you know, I did look into it, Colts Nation. I did look in. Hey, listen, we thought about it. And I know he's playing in the Super Bowl, and it's kind of what happened with Peyton from here going to Denver. And I understand that whole thing, but, you know, we went with a relationship instead. So that was, I think that was what Jim Irsay was saying. Like, listen, I was about it too. We won't do that again, because basically he went on to say, like, we have a nucleus of a team. We just need somebody to drop in there. Matthew Stafford, shout out being the new quarterback of the Indianapolis Colts.
So do you think Frank Reich is a big Kansas City Chiefs fan come Super Bowl Sunday? Just because
I would assume.
Irsay kind of sounds like he's throwing him under the bus as head coach.
But we got to make sure that we can't do what everybody else does, right? Yeah. Like we don't know the entire context of what he said. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like you know what I'm saying? So, but he did, if we just take this one quote that was tweeted out completely out of context, it is, all right, Irsay points, here's quotes, by the way. Looking for a veteran vision at quarterback with a team that he says is a Super Bowl contender. Shout out Matthew Stafford. Let's go.
Shout out.
Wants to add 1 to 2 playmakers, a wide receiver, tight end to go along with other needs. Quarterback, left tackle, corner, edge rusher. Ideally, you find a long-term QB, but can't force the draft. Yeah. Yeah,
there it is.
So they're bringing Wentz and Ertz to Indy. That's awesome.
Well, they need a wide
idea.
receiver too, because T.Y.'s out. I mean, there's going to be. And by the way, there was a time whenever we traded for Trent Richardson, Irsay was tweeting about backing the Brinks truck up. Like, he was like, hey, I got an earth-shattering move. Like, Irsay doesn't mind, like, mixing it up every once. He's gone into hibernation a little bit. Chris Ballard has done a lot more of the moves and talking and everything, because Chris Ballard is an incredible speaker, and he's very transparent as well. But if Jim Irsay wants to go ahead and dabble, he will come out and dabble. I mean, he will tweet. He will get right on his phone, and he'll be like, here we go. He makes somebody trend in Indiana like every other day, basically, from his Twitter account. He'll come in there and say, like, this is what I'm looking for, this is what I'm looking for. And everybody realizes, like, oh, this is what he wants us to do.
Well, they're keeping T.Y. because the mural, right? He said that they were keeping him up on the mural.
By the way, that was him tweeting to the Indianapolis Colts fans, and probably, now I'm assuming he's talked to Chris Ballard about this, but other people in the organization, like, oh yeah, T.Y.'s not going anywhere. Let's go ahead and remember that. I love Irsay. I wish he would get a little bit more active in that department, but I would assume there's a lot of people telling him, please don't.
Who can tell him that? Who can tell Irsay, hey, please
just
don't?
Leverage-wise. You know, like leverage-wise, nobody could tell him that. By the way, nobody could. Like, but I'm assuming there's some people that give a little bit of, hey, is there any way we can? Because at one point when he first got his Twitter, it was the best, dude. He was such a good Twitter follow. He was one of the best Twitter follows out there. And everybody's like, he's just tweeting random words. It was like, well, he's like a songwriter. So you like have to remember that he has 100 songs in the can with John Mellencamp down in Bloomington. He's like, so whenever you like see him use his words, like they are normally pretty well thought. I was like, well, they sound like a bunch of hippie shit to me. Like, well, maybe he's cool with that.